So as we all know, currently the world is in a global pandemic. People have different names for the pandemic causing virus. Is it the coronavirus, the Wuhan virus, or the Chinese virus? But the only official name is COVID-19, and aside from associating the virus with China, people blamed the Chinese people for spreading the virus. Some even theorize that the Chinese people have created the virus. Now imagine visiting a foreign country, but every single person crosses the road when they see you coming towards them. How would you feel in that situation? One of my friends, who is Chinese, told me that when he was walking in a park in the US, people tried to avoid him, presumably because that they feared the Chinese people will carry the virus, even though there's no reason to assume that my friend has a higher chance of carrying the virus. We fall victim to the same exact disease. The harm of xenophobia can be found in many more scenarios. The Pacific Islanders are the first one of us to fall victim to global warming, which is a problem that every one of us on Earth contributed to. Many of them lost their homes to the rising sea level. Lots of them became refugees and now live in the US. But why is it that after being deprived of home, they have to be discriminated against? Stop APPI Hate is an organization that aims to, like the name implies, stop hate on Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. Their website reported that discrimination and harassment against APPI people have doubled from 3,000 incidents to 6,600 incidents. These numbers are only instances reported on the website, which means they are only a portion of all the discrimination going on. The statistics also show that the most common act of discrimination is deliberate avoidance, which might not be a pronounced action of racism, but the emotional insult is not less severe. So, a person can acquire hostility to people of another nationality due to many reasons. One of them might be the conflict between two countries. We must acknowledge that a Chinese and a US citizen should not be hating on each other just because the two countries are having a trade war. A person from India should not violently attack Muslims just due to the conflict in Kashmir. Chinese people should not hate on Japan just based on the hateful facts back in World War II. A global citizen must know that history and politics should not overtake a rational mind. So how can a person be free from xenophobia? I'm a student of American boarding school. 3 years ago, when I first went to a school in the US, it was the first time that I had people from all different countries, the US, Mexico, Spain, Korea, and Japan, as my classmates. Even though at first, talking to people from such different backgrounds seems challenging and makes me nervous, we all eventually got along. One will slowly realize that the foreigners are not so different from us. At that point, you would think that a foreigner is just a friend from another country, and you would start to treat people from different countries equally. To be honest, even if we try the best, xenophobia might still have a tiny piece of it that remains in each one of us, or might still be more comfortable to be with a person of the same nationality, and there's nothing wrong about that. Nationality is an essential part of one's identity. However, respecting another person's nationality and identity is equally, if not more important. To become a global citizen and be free from xenophobia, I urge all of us to respect people equally, regardless of nationality. We should never use stereotypes, and we will do our best to stand against racism. We must distinguish conspiracies and bias-led opinions. This is how a global citizen will fight against a global problem. And finally, remember, the virus that we are all going through is called COVID-19, not the Chinese virus. To become free from xenophobia and the global citizen, I urge all of us to respect all people equally, regardless of nationality. We should never use stereotypes, and we'll do our best to stand up against racism. We must distinguish conspiracies and bias-led opinions. This is how a global citizen will fight against a global problem. And remember, the virus we are all going through is called COVID-19, not the Chinese virus.